Okay, Bernie Sanders seems to have found his backbone, his spine. Okay, Bernie Sanders and the Democrats are now coming to terms that they suck a lot. It's fascinating. It's though as if they've been given the green light to now criticize the Democrats after they got their asses beat on November 5th. Remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder treason and plot. So I want to pull up a couple of videos here because it's okay to laugh at them, but it's also, look, here's what I'm going to say. Yes, Bernie, if you're going to be writing this letter that's 8 years late, if you're going to be making these statements and sounding like you got your spine, you got TYT saying, Bernie's back. Woo! No, he's not. It's all an act. Bernie's back. No, it's not. It's all an act. It's all an act. It's all a show. I'll never forget, man. Hey, look, I was suckered in on it. Never again. Never again. Never again. Never again.
But Biden's still getting most of the blame. Not for destroying the country and putting the Democrats on a path to disaster. No, they just think he should have dropped out sooner. Biden not taking any blame at all. He's acting like he won. The lame ducks letting Ukraine fire our missiles into Russia. Scranton Joe's even lost Michael Moore. Quote.
Now here we go. You got liberal Michael Moore. So many people now coming out of the woodwork. So many people saying, oh my God, Biden, you're such a bad man and a loser. Guys, you got a little white stuff at the corner of your mouth. A little bit of dribble on the chin there too, Michael, Bernie, Democrats, liberals, vote blue no matter who, people. You got a little bit of that white stuff. You're realizing that you didn't like what you swallowed.
But seriously, this is your legacy? This is how you want to go out in a blaze of horror? Like if Joe's got to go, we all got to go with him right into World War III? We're hearing rumblings in Democrat circles that it's gotten so bad that Bernie Sanders is thinking about officially leaving and starting a third party. James Carville says Democrats are living in the dark.
In my opinion,
Oh, great, the Crypt Keeper. By the way, that's not what he looks like now. He kind of looks far more malnourished, in my opinion. So they had to find a good picture of him.
Everybody else is living in the dark. So when you live in the dark, what do? You try to turn the light on. I mean,
hey, watch the language. Okay? This is a family frickin' friendly show. I'm not going to tolerate any kind of frickin' swearing. I've never once swore on this show. Not once, not ever. That's all deep fakes, AI.
Turn on the flashlight. Let's see where because we just stumbling around, hitting walls, tripping over furniture. And let's see how we get there. And I don't know anybody that really knows this. People will call me and say, do this or do that. But I'm trying to find the light switch here, dude. And I can't, the wall is blank right now.
He's like, oh, where's that freaking light switch? Turn the light on. I can't see where I'm going. Oh, no. Oh, God. My goodness. I'm crashing into everything.
But we are fooling around in the dark here. That I know.
Yeah, all fooling around here. Speaking of fooling around, hey, the nutless wonder, the big cuck himself, Bernie. Bernie. Did you find your balls? Where were they? By the way, that's not his real balls. It's just fake stuff.
I think the Republicans are making the bet that they will win Jewish support in this country. I'm not so sure they're right. According to a poll from J Street, 62% of the Jewish people that they polled oppose giving more money to Netanyahu unless he agrees to an immediate ceasefire. And by the way, I just don't think that the average American feels very good about putting billions of dollars into an Israeli government which is starving thousands and thousands of children. I don't care whether you're Democrat, Republican, progressive, conservative. I don't think people feel good about that. So I would say that the Republicans, they're making a guess. I think they're going to lose on that bet.
I want to ask you a question, and I don't want you to betray any confidences, so you can sort of speak in general terms, but I can't help but know there are votes here in support of your resolution that wouldn't have necessarily been there 3 or 6 months ago. I think it's fair to say.
Yes. So if anyone's talking about this resolution here, but Bernie, you're part of and associated with a political party. They ain't gonna have your back. Like, you're 8 years late on this, buddy. 8 freaking years late. 8 years late after carrying water for a political institution that purposely smeared you and all of your supporters.
There are more votes now than there would have been. And can you characterize to what you attribute that movement in the conversations you've had with your colleagues?
I think growing frustration with the fact that we are putting billions of dollars into Netanyahu. We have always had conditions on military aid. If you want U.S. military aid, you cannot starve children. You cannot bomb schools. And I think the American people and members of the Democratic caucus are seeing Netanyahu take the money and reject every proposal coming from the Biden administration or anybody else to protect civilian lives. So I think that is the bottom line as to why we're seeing more and more opposition to military support of Israel.
Oh, wow, Bernie. Wow. Join the movement. Yeah, I got a movement for you. But before anyone starts thinking Bernie's going to do something, no, not really. Is Bernie Sanders launching a third party? Not right now. No, it's never. All right. In email, Senator Bernie Sanders that we talked about earlier in the show, and yes, on the post-duopoly show as well, sent to supporters this past week in field speculation that he could be laying the groundwork for a new political party in the wake of Democrats crushing defeat in the 2024 election. He's not going to do it. Okay. I mean, yeah. Listen, I'm not going to pull up that young Kit Cabello interview from 2017. Okay. It hurts to look at that video because I want to go back in time and warn that man about many things. A great many things. But nonetheless, hey, life is a lesson. But in an interview with The Nation's John Nicholas published Tuesday, Sanders said that he's not considering forming a party to challenge the entrenched Democrat and Republican establishment, at least not at the moment. No, he's not going to do it. No. Okay. And I interviewed Jimmy Dore at the People's Summit way back in 2017. Oh, it was 2018. Sorry about that. 2018 at McCormick Place in Chicago. You know, there was a lot of hope that Bernie would do that. He didn't listen to his people. He didn't listen to his volunteers. He didn't listen to his supporters. Not right now, no, Sanders told Nicholas, who asked the senator directly about his email to supporters and whether he intends to create a new party. The senator argued in the email it's highly unlikely that the Democrat leadership will learn the lessons of their defeat and create a party that stands with the working class and is prepared to take on enormously powerful special interests that dominate our economy, our media, and our political life. Sanders, who caucuses with the Democrats in the Senate, told Nicholas that while he's not currently backing the creation of a new party, he is making a case that whether it is more advantageous to run as an independent outside the Democratic primary process, we should do that. He also emphasized the need for more working class candidates across the country. So great, a whole lot of farting in the wind. You know, it is interesting. And again, I could read this letter because this article does bring up a couple of points of it, but you cannot reform something that is not going to help the people. You can't fix the Democrat Party. DSA is now a wing of the Democrats. Okay, let's be clear about that. They voted to help out the Democrats. There you go. All right. By the way, forced to vote, it was a DSA creation. Democrat Socialists of America. That whole forced to vote strategy, that was your thing. How come you guys didn't lay the pressure on AOC? Then there was Justice Democrats or Just Us Democrats. Our Revolution, brand new Congress. Where are those institutions? Their credibility is gone and evaporated. You can't reform a party. What, the bear's going to eat you? Well, you think if the bear eats you, you're going to change the bear on the inside? No, don't be stupid. But then you got a lot of hindsight. You got a lot of people now realizing that the trust in the DNC is gone. Can you imagine if Kamala truly won? The smugness of all these people? Michael Moore and Bernie Sanders would all be quiet. And then you got that new wave of influencers. Man, they would be touting, singing, and being smug all about it. And saying, yeah, we could hold Kamala's feet to the fire while they go back to their fancy mansions. When I say fancy mansions, I'm talking about Cenk's nephew. Cenk's nephew. He needs no introduction. Because my goodness, his tone has certainly changed. What you doing on CNN, Cenk's nephew?
What is it that the Democrat Party has to do differently Well, I think that they need to change their policies.
Oh, yeah, they got to change their policy. Really? You think? Wow, that's some deep thought right there. Brilliant move, Jenks' nephew. Brilliant move. Huge big brain stuff. Hang on, folks. This is big brain tactics right here.
It's a
That's-
policy thing.
Yes, it's 100% a policy thing.
'Cause
Which
I'll
is
say,
the
right-
boring, which is the boring answer. Although it would be very self-serving for me to say, I'm the left's Joe Rogan, the Democratic Party.
Oh, yeah. Even if you weren't being serious about that, you should not have put that sentence out there. What, you are the left's Joe Rogan? First of all, the left did have a Joe Rogan. It was Joe Rogan, okay? Joe Rogan, had Bernie Sanders on his podcast. He had a lot of leaning progressives and other people, who were influential in that sphere. Okay, Joe Rogan, like, come on. People don't need another Joe Rogan. What people need is original people with fresh thoughts and ideas, okay? Joe Rogan is who he is, Instead, you should have just said, listen, I'm going to create this podcast to make it a space for progressive thoughts and independence, and so that we can have real debates and conversations. But no, everyone's looking for the next Joe Rogan. Well, too bad. That train has left, baby. Say it again. Be stupid again.
Serving for me to say, I'm the left's Joe Rogan. The Democratic Party should give me millions of dollars. That's not going to solve this problem. What will solve this problem is if the Democratic Party actually adopts real left-wing economic populist messaging instead of purposely avoiding that stuff because they're terrified of upsetting their corporate donors. I think Trump speaks to mail insecurities better, and I think Trump speaks to the anger that people have, whereas the other side of the political spectrum does not speak to that anger at all.
Mastermind. Are you calling that CNN reporter Sam Wise from Lord of the Rings? Gee, Mr. Frodo, I got my own podcast on CNN. I don't know if that's wise, Sam. We have to drop the ring into Mount Doom. But Mr. Frodo, I'm speaking to Jake's nephew. Hold on. He kind of looks like Samwise. He kind of does. Hold on. Wait. What's wrong with the Democrats, Mr. Frodo? It's the ring, Sam. Smeagol doesn't like the Democrats. Smeagol thinks they're bad. Oh, Mouse, share the load. Hold on, let's watch this again. Oh boy, hang on. Let's watch this again. Lead us to Mount Doom, Samwise.
Democrat Party has to do differently.
Well, I think that they need to change their policies.
It's a policy thing.
Yes, it's 100% a policy thing.
Because I'll say,
Which is the boring answer. Although it would be very self-serving for me to say, I'm the left's Joe Rogan. The Democratic Party should give me.
That's a bold statement there, Cotton. All right. That's a bold strategy that he's doing there, Cotton. Let's see if it works out for them.
Millions of dollars. That's not going to solve this problem. What will solve this problem is if the Democratic Party actually adopts real left-wing economic populist messaging instead of purposely avoiding that stuff because they're terrified of upsetting their corporate donors. I think Trump speaks to mail insecurities better, and I think Trump speaks to the anger that people have, whereas the other side of the political spectrum does not speak to that anger at all.
What is this?
Okay, yeah, take it. Hold on. All right, Sam, you already spoke enough. Now look. All right. In regards to male frustration, I mean, look, there's a lot to talk about that in regards to what's happening. But you did have a lot of progressive, or Democrat lawmakers, just say, hey, You're not needed. You're dismissed. But they did that to so many groups of people, men, women. The Democrats just dismissed and took sort of for granted their entire voting coalition. The economic policies of the Democrats have been neoliberal. The social policies have been neoliberal. It's all been owned by the corporations. And yet now, oh, wow, all these big time podcasters who carried water for the Democrats, all these big channels who carried water for the Democrats, all these vote blue no matter who influencers who carried water for the Democrats, all these celebrities who carried water for the Democrats are now coming out of the woodwork saying, there's got to be a change. Watch, by the next midterm election cycle, these very same people are going to tell you got to vote Democrat. They're gonna do it. One more desperate attempt. They haven't learned their lesson. Okay, the old guard isn't going to give us power. You think Nancy Pelosi is going to ride off the sunset? You think the Clintons or the Obamas are going to give up their power? You think any of the dynastic families associated with the Democratic Party are just going to end their super delegate system? It's a private corporate institution. You can't change it. And Bernie Sanders isn't the leader. Don't hold out for hope for Bernie. He failed us not once, but twice. And he did it on purpose. He knew he was being screwed over. And yet he still carried water for the Democrats in 2024. That's not a leader I want to follow. That's not a leader I want to respect. Now, I'll hear what he has to say, but I'll never forget his actions. Remember his actions and his deeds. It led us to where we're at now. But he had an opportunity to do the right thing, and he chose not to do it.
If you fool me once, it's because I didn't think a guard was needed. If you fool me twice, it's because I didn't learn the lesson, so it bears repeating. If you try the same play 3 times running, it's because you know what's coming, and you didn't come to lead, you came to purposefully be misleading. Democracy is dry. It's been a century bleeding. The husk is gaping open to the sky, out in the field where all the sheep just keep on circling and worrying and bleeding. They're waiting for the shepherd that they've tried to hide their faith in, but he's so appealing. They'd gladly give their fleece. It's such a freeing feeling that even when he leads them to the ledge and starts to urge them on, they're positively beaming. They were told that they were on their way to save democracy, so even as they plummet, they just gloat. They don't consider screaming. And halfway up the cliff, the shepherd's cozy little mittens wrap around the staff of shattered human hopes on which he's leaning. He shows the gentle grin that used to stir your inner spark, and he says, "Not me, us," as he gestures to the oligarchs. He knows that if he runs, they're going to stop him like a stolen car. And he'll easily surrender because it bought a lot of time for laying mines in all the grassroots. Suddenly, the tiniest of movements gets you blown apart. Suddenly, you're in a play that's set on an election day, and voting for the fire, unaware you're playing Joan of Arc. Suddenly, the shepherd pulls the rug and slips a hood across your clueless mug, and everything goes zero dark. I'm going to warn you once more before it's 2024 and you fuck around and find out who your heroes are. To take a step back from the herd, and you'll learn that you can spot who all the shearers are. If you really want to know the product that they're selling, I can take you where the mirrors are. If you think your voice is finally ready, I can tell you where the lyrics are. I hid them in a box I had to bury neath the cobble when they carpet bombed the promenade and raided all the street bazaars. Now all we've got's the marketplace, and you're too broke to even bother asking what the options for your treatment are. Suddenly, the raw debris of homeless human dignity will find it has 100 teeth for every badge and sweeper's arm. Suddenly, they speak in solidarity and each is armed. Suddenly, the sheep can see the shepherd for his truest form and all pitch in at once to help him buy the farm. And now it's zero dark, and all is calm and peaceful save the distant wail of sirens that approach beside the flames of dawn. Suddenly, the carrot's just a string that's on a stick, and all your movements make you sick because the prize is gone. Now, we could go and flee into the forest low and meek, or we can exercise our right to feast and go and graze on Biden's lawn. Because he's been sowing seeds that seep a toxin out to sap a bit from each of us and keep on leaching decades after Biden's gone. So regardless who they summon out of hell to come and do the job, it will not feel like Biden's gone. But in that time of hopelessness, you cannot trust the shepherd when he once again comes asking you to humor him his siren song. And it's cute that you can innocently, honestly assume that's just a symptom of a system that was wired wrong, and not the standard feature, basic function, primary objective of a mass hypnosis firebomb. You don't need to know the words to cry along. Someday it'll hit you like an officer who pistol whipped their ride along. Broke his jaw and kept his job and kept it moving right along. That voting isn't red or blue or black or white or right or wrong. Voting's like a firing squad where you can choose the firearm. It's slow extinction by and large. It's Super Tuesday supercharged. It's all your futures, roots and all, just tossed out on a garbage barge. It's everybody dropping out to push the biggest oligarch. It's everybody voting fire, registered as Joan of Arc.